How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Black Pumpkin from 2020. Oddly enough, this is set in 2018 and didn't get its wide release until 2021, or at least a wide release as a Walmart DTV, so kind of a weird thing with the years there. This movie is written and directed by Ryan McGonagle, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name, and stars Matt Rife, Ellie Patrikios, and Grayson, Thorne, Kilpatrick. But yeah, this movie, this is the Walmart direct-to-video Halloween movie for this year. There might be more of them later on, but this is the first one to come out, and I cover Halloween movies on October. I try to get to as many of them as I can, so I saw Walmart had a new one out, and I thought, cool, let's check it out. Now, Walmart movies can be kind of hit or miss. If you find any of the Shudder ones on DVD, those are usually pretty good. Scream Factories usually are pretty good as well. But beyond that, they can get kind of hit or miss. You know, ITN, Uncorked, Uncorked is this one. And, you know, they can get kind of, you know, you can get some really bad ones and you can get some okay ones. This one's okay. It's not the best thing ever, and I feel like during the rest of this review I might kind of gripe a little bit about it, because there are definitely complaints, but I do want to say it's better than a lot of its peers. A lot of other direct-to-video movies simply struggle to be a movie, and this is better than that. It definitely still has low-budget movie faults, but it's okay, and it's kind of hard to say if it's okay. Like, it's hard to stress, like, what level of okay it is. Here's the deal, though. Last year's Walmart direct-to-video horror movie, Fear Farm. If they ever made a Fear Farm 2, I would definitely watch this. There's already a sequel to this one floating around on digital stores, and I thought to myself, would I want to watch another Bloody Bobby movie? And the answer is simply, maybe. And that really kind of tells you the fact that maybe I'll watch a second one. That kind of shows you where it is. It's okay, not great, and definitely has its faults, but I do want to say it is better than a lot of Walmart direct-to-video movies that simply struggle to be a thing there. So let's go ahead and dive into the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points, and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the movie's about. We open up with our prologue sequence, an old man watching Night of the Living Dead, when he's disturbed by a series of knocks at his front door, and he sees the black pumpkin. Someone left a black jack-o'-lantern on his front door, from the title, and he goes to the door one more time to answer one of these knocks. He looks through the peephole and he gets stabbed in the eye with an ice pick. Now in this opening section, you can really see a lot of the movie's faults right off the bat. Sadly, not great tension. You also get a little bit of weird low-budget movie logic. The ice pick he gets stabbed with was in his house, so for whatever reason the killer went into the house, grabbed the ice pick, and then went back outside. Not impossible, but just weird, you know? And then you get the kill itself, and sadly this is the area where it really suffers. It's edited in such a weird, confusing way that at first I didn't know what was happening. And this is probably because they didn't have the budget to do the kill properly. You know, and you have to cover it up with weird and confusing editing. And there's several scenes like this. There's a scene later on where someone gets hit by a car. And that, they show the front of the car and they spin the camera because they can't afford to actually crash a car. And it's just weird, choppy editing. And a lot of the kills are like that in this movie, you know. A lot of them just average so-so kills, and whenever they do anything extreme, they have to hide it with weird choppy editing. There's one, what would have been the coolest kill in this movie. The killer knocks out someone, she wakes up next to a bonfire, she's covered in gasoline, you know, wakes up to the splashing. Well, not gasoline, whatever you put on fires, lighter fluid. And then the killer takes one of the marshmallows on a stick, it's burning on fire, and he's going over and he's about to light her on fire, and then you cut away because we don't have the budget to light someone on fire. And that's sort of the frustrating thing, is some of these kills are okay, murdered by budget though, and that's one of the things. But anyway, let's move on. So the guy dies, and we go 10 years into the future, and you get to meet the family, the mom that's not going to be there most of the movie, the older daughter who is named Lori, because Halloween. That's one of the things, is this movie kind of walks a weird line between Easter eggs / references and just lifting stuff, where at times it doesn't feel like an Easter egg, it feels like they're just taking stuff from other movies and putting it in theirs. Halloween, you get Lori, the name of the main character, from Halloween. You also get a scene in this movie where it's shot through the eyes of a mask, like the opening shot of Halloween, and several scenes of girls walking home from school, a staple of the 1978 Halloween. So, like, it just kind of draws this weird line where it feels like these are supposed to be Easter eggs, but when you're watching it just feels like copying, you know? And that's one of the movie's problems. But anyway, we meet Lori, we meet her younger siblings. The youngest is a daughter who runs around in a Jason mask the whole time. But the middle child, who's really the main character of the movie, is this, I'm guessing he's a middle school boy, maybe high school, and he's doing a video project on this place called Devil's Den. Sometimes it's Diablo's Den. It changes back and forth, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to be in English or Spanish. But anyway, he's doing a video report on that, and his friend Porkchop is getting more footage to finish up the video really quick before they present it. And he's there getting footage, he nails voodoo dolls to a tree for atmosphere, and bullies chase him away. And like I said many times before on this channel, it's really hard to do bully characters that make the movie better. Usually they're just annoying, and these aren't as annoying as a lot of other bully characters, but they're not great. But anyway, he's chased off by bullies, he makes it back home, they finish the project, present it in school, and magically, this thing gets like 66,000 views in the first half of the day. Now that's one of the things. There's definitely more unbelievable stuff in this movie, but as someone who makes YouTube videos, some random student project getting 66,000 views, that's like, to me, one of the most unbelievable parts. I mean, who's watching this? Unless there was something really funny in there and it went viral, like, it's not gonna, some student project's not gonna get that many views. I mean, also, in just the first part of the day, like, most people don't watch YouTube until after 4 or so, I don't know, that's just a minor gripe, and I'll put it aside. But anyway, the older daughter's supposed to be babysitting, she ditches that to go to a dance with her boyfriend, the kids go out trick-or-treating, and a lot of the other teenagers go out to party. They're going to have a bonfire at Devil's Den. Now, Devil's Den, known for being haunted by this character Bloody Bobby, and he of course shows up and starts killing them all. This is a slasher movie after all. Now, in regards to the character, let's, when we talk about specifics, let's start off with talking about Bloody Bobby himself. He's basically a mashup of Michael Myers and Sam from Trick or Treat. More like a slasher-y version of Sam. He's okay. It's actually really interesting to do a slasher movie where the killer's a kid. You don't see too many of those. Bloody Birthday is a really good one. But anyway, the thing with him is it's not super explained well. As much news footage as is in this movie, I'm not really clear. I'm guessing he was a kid who was bullied and he went on a killing spree. But I guess he must have died because it's been 10 years later and he's still a kid, so I'm guessing he's a ghost or something? I'm not sure. But also there's weird little things, you know, like sometimes he leaves a black pumpkin before he kills you. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he makes your nose bleed. Why? I don't know. He's summoned by accident with these 2 voodoo dolls, but he's not a voodoo character, and he kills more than just the 2 people tied to the dolls. So I don't know why voodoo dolls are a thing for him. Also, his personality is a little inconsistent. Like, sometimes he tries to tell jokes, other times he's stoic, and his jokes aren't over the top and funny, and they're distorted so much by this voice filter, you don't really get to hear much of them. And, you know, if he was a funnier character, if he was more like Chucky, it really would have helped it a lot. But yeah, there is weird little inconsistencies in the rules, and you don't really get to know exactly who he was. The opening scene is someone he killed a year after his killing rampage. Why wasn't the opening scene his origin story? That would have made a lot of this a lot clearer. I don't know. There's also a few, when you talk about weird low-budget movie logic, a few of the problems like Laurie has a friend who used to date Laurie's current boyfriend, so now her ex-best friend hates her. This is introduced and doesn't really go anywhere, so I don't know why it was in the movie. There's also, later on in the movie, the biggest example of weird low-budget movie logic in this. Later on in the movie, one of the main characters gets stabbed right in the gut and is more or less okay afterwards. I don't know why. They needed to momentarily incapacitate this character, but she gets stabbed and then she's just okay. What? I mean, if just show her getting hit on the head with a blunt object if you want to incapacitate her, but have her be okay. I don't understand this. But anyway, the kills. I referenced them a little bit earlier. They really don't have the budget to do the cooler kills, and the rest of the kills in turn are kind of forgettable. You know, you do a slasher movie, you really do have to invest a lot of your budget into special effects, and if that means cutting some other stuff out, cut it out, because the kills are the point of a slasher movie, and having so much of them obscured through budget really makes this movie feel kind of PG-13, which, since these characters are middle schoolers, I kind of wonder if they were going for a PG-13 feel. This is obviously unrated, a lot of DTV stuff is, but yeah, without too graphic of kills, this feels PG-13, or at least what PG-13 should be if the ratings board didn't have this weird fear of blood. But yeah, it really does feel PG-13, and I do have to say, if you're gonna make a PG-13 movie, write a PG-13 script, you know? There are scenes in this movie where it sticks out like a sore thumb. If you're gonna have a PG-13 movie, don't write, you know, like a sex scene where the characters keep half their clothes on. Don't write a scene that takes place in the girls' locker room. If you're PG-13, write for PG-13. Otherwise, it sticks out like a sore thumb, and that is a problem there. But let's move on. Another low-budget movie thing is the acting. The acting in this movie with the main characters is more or less fine. It's just every now and then you get a line that just comes off as weird and off. You also get a lot of the characters who are supposed to be funnier than they actually are. Like, you know, I never really, like, laughed out loud during this horror movie. The humor, I guess, kind of brings some levity to it, but it's just not great. And also, oh man, one of the worst characters. There's this horror host on TV, I think his name's Dr. Frank. Oh man, he's not on TV that much. Absolutely awful. He just comes in and starts dancing around. Oh, I hated that character. Like, for real. Not funny, just annoying. So, yeah, there is some stuff with that. I don't know. Like, if this movie really made me laugh, if they pushed the humor, then I could have excused, you know, the PG-13 nature, I could have excused the lack of kills, and it would have really upped the movie, but whatever with that. But yeah, sort of a thing with this, you know, if they had made it more of a kids movie, because this does star kids, you know, if they had made it more of a kids movie, I could have been like, oh, okay, I'm watching kids movie, whatever. But it really does feel like a movie that should have been a hard R slasher, kind of pulled down into being this kids movie. And you can do movies for adults starring kids. I mean, Stephen King does it all the time. But, like, look at what Stephen King does. Stephen King is about nostalgia, you know? When Stephen King does a movie starring kids, it's written from the perspective of people looking back at their childhoods, and that's how you do a movie for adults starring kids. But yeah, it's just kind of mix-mashed, you know? So the humor didn't quite work. It should have been a harder R, and just wasn't clear exactly who this Bloody Bobby was and what his rules are. But, I mean, it's fine enough. There was a lot more effort than so many of these low-budget things. It's just, you know, not great. Maybe I'll pick up the sequel, maybe I won't. I'll have to see when it comes out on DVD. But overall, this is fine, but not great. And I guess that's where I'll put it. If you want to check it out, I mean, if you got $10 to spare and you're used to low-budget horror movies, I guess you can go ahead and watch this, but not the best thing ever, but not terrible. And I do want to stress, not terrible, just not the best, you know? And it's kind of a weird place to leave a review, but whatever. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.